think it's only fitting that we talk about Donald Trump because he will be the president of the US at the end of this week. And of course, if you don't know, but you will know now, the Australian government entered into a refugee swap deal with the Obama administration. So there's a real question about whether or not that will stand up once we have Trump in as president. Stephen, what do you think is going to happen with President Trump? I hate saying that. I hate saying those two words together, but we might as well get used to it.
We might as well. I am very pessimistic about the future of that deal. He campaigned very strongly on no Muslims coming to the United States, and a large number, well over half, of these people are Muslims. I know that in recent weeks there have been American officials, certainly in Nauru, doing security assessments and Manus, doing security assessments of these people. But my understanding is that the security assessment process that the United States undertakes takes a good 6 months or so.
Oh, right.
So the prospect of any of them actually going through that process before Trump takes office, I think, is small. I hope I'm wrong, because actually that's the best solution that has been put forward in the entire 4 years of this debacle. But and if it doesn't go ahead, they're going to have to put them somewhere else. I mean, this government actually has a political problem. It can't go to the next election, which is, in 2.5 years' time, with these people still in detention. By then it will have been 6 years.
I mean, one of the things that people often criticise refugee advocates for is that they always complain about current policy, but they never come up with alternatives. It's actually not true. I mean, you can just Google alternatives, and you can find a lot of them. But I'm interested to know what you guys think about what alternatives are out there, and that you think are viable in terms of policy, putting aside the swap deal with the US.
So if you actually look at the way the policy went in Australia, we were still getting boat arrivals even after the detention centres were established. And it wasn't until, the offshore detention centres were established. And it wasn't until we actually physically stopped the people arriving and returned them to Indonesia that boats stopped arriving, because they couldn't arrive in our territorial waters. And so that says to me that the only way to stop boats is to actually refuse them, and that the offshore detention centre and all the deterrence policies we enact in Australia to the guys on bridging visas aren't effective deterrent methods. I'm not opposed to trying to stop boats, people getting on boats from Indonesia to Australia. But in order to do that, why don't we try something humane? Why don't we try creating regional solutions where we can resettle people from the places before they get on the boat? Places like Indonesia, places like Malaysia, going to places like Afghanistan if we have to. If we can create some kind of policy around that, where you have actual viable alternatives to getting on the boat, then I would feel more comfortable with saying this is why we would punish you if you get on the boat, because you've actually got other options. Now, obviously, that's going to be extremely difficult, because in countries like Pakistan and Iran, you've got 2 million refugees waiting. So Australia says if they come to Indonesia, it's not our problem because they've skipped all these countries. It is our problem because that's our doorstep. Why would we be taking people from Central America if we've got people on our doorstep knocking on our door asking for protection?
And the conditions on our doorstep, in countries like Indonesia, going from crowded refugee camp to crowded refugee camp, that's where there's no hope. That's where your only hope is the leaky boat. And the choice that people must face is just one that we can never fathom. And yet we do nothing about these conditions. So the UNHCR presence over there, just a simple thing like having more people there means that the conditions are better and you feel like more is being done. People are facing waiting times of 40 years. 40 years. If somebody, I'm nearly 40, if someone told me that would be my life, I would take any other option. And so we do nothing to alleviate these conditions. So there's one solution. And the other one is we must be global partners in peace. That getting involved in conflicts that cause these situations, we're all part of the coalition of the willing. How dare we go turning back boats?